I'm Susie Landolfi, and welcome to Be Crazy Well.
I'm
Brandon,
here.
don't you know that no one can mute me? I'm telling you, lots of people tried to mute me. Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson tried to mute me, and they couldn't.
That's funny.
It
It's good to
ain't
see
gonna
you.
happen with me because I'm a disruptor. I'm a professional disruptor. So are you.
Yeah,
You know you are. You didn't know you were going to be a disruptor, though, did you?
I did. That's what's so great about
That's what is so great about it. You
it.
thought you were gonna go down the road of, do really well, be this good boy and good student, and do everything right, not get into trouble,
Yeah.
and follow the rules. And then all of a sudden your shit hit the fan. And you fell apart. Thank goodness. And
Yeah.
then you created the person you deserve to be in the life you deserve to live to help us. That's what you did. That's what you're doing. But wait, everybody, this is Be Crazy Well. I couldn't think of anybody more crazy and more well than Brandon Bostick. And Brandon, you have to tell everybody how we found one another, how
Oh
the
well.
universe brought us together, the god and goddess of the universe brought us together. And
I'll
then
tell that story.
what I did to go get you. I had to go get you.
I'll tell that story. Now you make me reflect on it. It's been a while since I've thought about that.
Mhm.
It's been some years. It's been like what, 4 years
Yeah,
since COVID, coming out of COVID.
that's right. So how did you find me? What do you remember?
Oh man. I remember just being in Arizona, just lost,
Wow.
just in that dark hole, trying to figure out what was next for me after football.
Mhm.
And I didn't have anyone. Um, I guess I didn't have any friends who I thought were supportive of me and where I was at the time. Like I didn't know how to express it. I didn't know how to talk about what I was going through. So um, I just reached out, just started talking about it, and I just reached out to Jay, and I
Jay
met. I
Glazer.
heard about Jay
That's
Glazer.
right.
Yeah, Jay
Jay
Glazer.
Glazer from
Jay
Fox
Glazer. So
NFL, right.
I heard about MVP, emerging investment players, and I was looking for somewhere, or just anyone who would listen to me, anyone who felt like I did. I was looking for that person. I found the MVP group, and I just started just researching it. I was scared at first. Of course, I was scared. I didn't know these people. I didn't feel like telling my story. I was kind of ashamed of myself. I felt bad about who I was. I felt bad about what I did. I just felt bad about myself, but I knew that there were people out there feeling the same way, or maybe going through some similar symptoms, or just struggling during COVID. Everyone was struggling, so I kind of knew there were other people who were struggling, but at that time I felt like I was alone. So I just reached out and I don't know, I just was vulnerable. I just opened up and just told everyone my symptoms, and people connected with that, and people resonated with that, and I found the right people like you and Jay.
Yeah, I had to call you. You stuck your toe in the water and I ran into the lake. Come on, we're jumping in full body.
Yeah, you did, and that was something that really started me on this journey. I needed that. I needed that boost. I needed that kicking ass. I needed someone to, I guess, uplift me. You know, just give me some hope, give me some energy, give me just a little bit of hope. Anything that could change my situation. I found you, and that was 4 years ago to this day. So it's been good ever since.
Brandon, you don't know this, but I've been where you were. I have been. I didn't play football, but I can throw a great football, actually. And I did play, but what am I saying? I played on a female powder puff team in high school.
Oh, you did? I
Oh,
didn't know
yeah.
that.
I'm gonna send you a picture of the front page of our local newspaper of me carrying the ball and stiff arming a girl. But anyway, we digress. Brandon, you don't know this, but I fell apart because of what I had done, how ashamed I was, how I lost everything, and how I had contributed more trauma to my daughter because of my trauma. And so you met me on the upswing. You met me when I had gone through all of that, done that hard work that you were looking to do. So what's interesting is you can see somebody in that space. You can just look at them and you probably do that now.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah, yeah. You're like, you'll be just on a freaking, well, he's always traveling, so I never know. He'll be on a plane or some train somewhere in some country doing something. And you'll look at someone and you'll know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you
It,
can feel it.
you can feel it, energetically feel. It's like a superpower now.
Yeah.
Right. So I think some people are going to be very shocked to hear what you thought was such a terrible thing you did. I mean, it's like, let me think. I don't think you murdered your family.
No, no.
Okay, so you didn't rob a bank.
I didn't harm anyone.
Okay, you didn't harm anybody. What was the thing that brought you to your knees that made you believe you didn't deserve to be here?
I dropped the football. We were playing the NFC Championship game 2014, 15. So it was a big play. It was a game before the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, you know. So it was a big build up and a lot of build up to it, and we were winning that game. And if I would have caught the ball, or if I would have did my assignment, it's not if I would have caught the ball. If I would have did my assignment, which was blocked for my teammate, so he can catch the ball, then we probably more likely win the game. So I didn't do my assignment, and I dropped the ball. So I just kind of felt like it was all my fault. Like you said, I felt the shame and the guilt. I just felt bad about myself because that's something that I worked for, and I felt like I worked all my life to get to that point, and I kind of let myself down. So that's just how I felt at the time, and it was tough for me to experience that because I was just so overwhelmed with everything. I never had something so I guch however you say that word,
A
such dramatic and
catastrophic. Catastrophic.
catastrophic, yeah,
Yes.
and dramatic and such so much feelings, emotion. I never experienced that, so it's a lot for me, and it's hard for me to come down from that and just recover from that. So
Yeah. You were in MVP at that time was all virtual because we were all in COVID. And
hmm
I remember you telling the story several times, like you lost the game, basically,
yeah,
right? Then I remember somebody from the opposite team that you were
that
playing,
was wild. That was a
Luke,
crazy moment.
Luke, right? Luke came
Yeah,
on and he's listening to you tell the story again that I dropped the ball. I was supposed to block instead of catch the ball, but it came to my hands and I just reacted, which I want everybody to understand. It's not like you push the guy down, your teammate down and grab the
nah,
ball. Okay. And Luke is on it going, whoa, 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 T.O.
that was a crazy moment. God,
Wait a moment. And what did Luke tell you? What was Luke's last name?
Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson, for all of you football fans from the Seattle Seahawks, was on the MVP call. And he says to you, he jumps right in. And what does he say to all of us there? You remember?
No, I don't. I don't remember.
Oh,
I know
you
I pretty much said that it wasn't my fault, and there was a lot
yes,
of mistakes that, um, you know, contributed to that one moment of the play.
exactly. He said your team wasn't going to win that game. He
Yeah,
knew it. There were lots of mistakes. You just happened to be one of several that the
yeah,
Seahawks just were calmer and got their shit together, and it wasn't your fault. I mean, this guy was so incredulous that
he
you
was.
were walking around believing all of this time that you lost their chances, your team's chances to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And
that was an unbelievable moment. I wasn't expecting him to say that. I didn't even know he was on the call.
that's
So when
right.
he jumped in and said that, it kind of just it took a lot off my back. It confirmed. I guess it killed a lot of the thoughts I had about myself and how I felt about myself. But um, yeah, that was definitely a moment that I'll never forget. And I feel like I needed that because no one ever said that before. I never heard someone else's perspective
That's
or
right.
someone else's, I guess, someone else's experience about it. Someone who I played against, someone who I know.
Who
So it's
was
different just hearing, yeah, who's there.
there?
Yeah.
He was there.
So
And,
it's,
he didn't have to do it. He did it because it was the truth.
yeah,
That's the other. He didn't do it to make you feel good. He just said, look, I was there. Here's what happened. And for you to believe that it was all you is just not true. I believe more than anything, like most things that I believe, this is like at the top of the list, that most of us beat ourselves up for untruths.
Yeah.
I mean, I box with George Foreman's son, number 3. You have to know the number, or you don't know which brother I'm talking. So I box 3 days a week. I just want to show you so you can see.
You
That's
still
real.
got the guns.
Yeah, that's it. That's real.
You
Okay.
still got them.
I got them. I got my gun, 74 years old, 74. And never have I been taught to throw myself a right cross. I've never given myself an uppercut, or none of it, a hook, none of it. Because beating ourselves up we're the only animal on the planet that does that. Think
Wow, I
about
didn't know that. I didn't know that.
We're supposed to be the smartest animal. Other animals will beat other animals up, and we'll beat I don't know any animal that will beat itself up. That will say, that time that we were at the water hole and the lion got us, it was because I stepped aside and then it got this other zebra and I just feel ashamed. No animal does that. They're the only animal that does that. We're supposed to be the smartest. And we're not. So here's a question I've never asked you. I was terrified of making mistakes my whole life. I had to be successful. I had to be a great student. I had to be a great athlete. I had to dance on stage. I had to do everything to help make my mother happy because she was depressed. She had a very bad childhood. My sister was struggling like crazy, and they went through a horrible, horrible divorce with my dad. And my mom thought of me as the golden child. So when I made a little mistake, I was devastated. Does that sound familiar?
Uh,
Why
it
did
does.
you have to achieve so much? Well, who told you, who taught you you had to do that?
I think society.
Well, definitely. Black man, you better, because
Yeah.
you can't even drive without being pulled over, right? And
Yeah.
being accused. So definitely being a black man, that's for sure. Black man from the
Uh, White man from the South. Being the oldest kid. I'm the
oh,
oldest of 3 boys.
there you go. There you go. Okay. You're the man of the house. You have to, you know better. You're in charge. You got to show them.
Uh, and just wanting it for myself, just wanting to, be better and just having that drive to continue to be perfect, the perfection. But
Be perfection. What was that?
my dad, uh, my dad, he was a tough dad. He's a hard dad. He motivated, he pushed me,
Okay.
probably
Sometimes,
pushed um yeah, probably pushed me more than I wanted to be pushed.
yeah,
But he always gave me options if I wanted to do it or not. If you don't want to do it, we don't have to do it. But if you do want to do it, we're going to do it the right way. And we're going to go hard. We're going to give the best effort. So he always pushed me to that point. Then I had to choose which side I want to do. And he supported me, but he was my dad. So, and I was the oldest kid. So obviously I had a little more pressure and he held me to a little higher standard. And just things are like a little different, I guess.
did your mom and dad stay together?
Yeah, they still are. They were married for, it'll be 35 years. I'm
Oh my
35.
goodness. And you're
Yeah.
never getting married.
I want to. I want to. I
Do
want to.
you really?
I
That's
do.
new.
I need a family. I want a family now.
Okay, so everybody out there, like just you heard it here. You heard it here. I'm gonna start be crazy well dating opportunity. That's what I'm gonna do from now on. All right.
But,
So your dad, what did your dad do and what did he come from?
my dad has a big family, so maybe like 13. I have 12 other aunts and uncles, so a big family in the South.
Yeah.
Um, More women than men, so more aunts and uncles. And his mom and dad were farmers, like they worked on the farm, they had their own farm. And my dad worked for AT&T, like the phone service, but he was outside putting up the phone line, so he was doing some hard work. And my mom was a home health care nurse, so she took care of people, took care of the older people. She still does that now, so that's all I remember them. That's what they did growing up.
So they had to work really hard.
Yeah, to support my 3 brothers, my
They
three
didn't go
kids.
to right, they didn't go to college.
No, they didn't.
No,
No.
you're the firstborn, and I'm the only one that ever went to college in my family. So, well,
And your family.
yeah, in my family. So my
Oh, that's
father,
crazy.
yeah, my father, mother, sister, brother, no one went to college but me. And before that, no one went to college. So
Uh,
I'm the achiever because I'm pressured to do this. And I can't say I didn't want to do it. I can just say to you, I knew I was supposed to do it too. It was
yeah,
both. It was both. So I understand that feeling that you want to do it and you want to do it for them too.
yeah.
Okay. So as you became the first person to go to college, and 13 brothers and sisters, I don't know how many of those of your dad's family went to college or your mom. So it's on you. You go to college, you do well. Did you ever get in trouble in high school? Did you ever do anything in high school? You
No,
go, what? I, as a good kid, I even did a couple of things that I just never got caught. I was smart enough not to get caught. But
we didn't have any money. There was
you
nothing
didn't
to
have any
do.
money.
Yeah, we just played sports and went to practice and
Yeah,
go home. Like there was nothing else to do.
that's right. Okay. So you were sequestered, you were in this bubble. All right. And
Yeah,
we had no money either. So I know that the more that I was successful in school and dancing and all these things, and the more I went to college, the better it was going to be for my family too, for me
yeah.
and my family. Because now I knew they were really watching me and happy and proud of what I was doing. So I got this double whammy. So now you're in college. Where'd you go to college?
Newberry College in South
Oh, wait,
Carolina,
wait,
small
go
school.
back. You won some kind of award, Hall of Fame award in high
Oh
school.
yeah. No, no, I was inducted into Newberry Hall of Fame, my college's Hall of Fame
Colleges. Oh my,
last year. Yeah.
right.
'Cause I
So,
graduated, the crazy story, you didn't know I graduated um, during COVID when I was going through this mental health struggle. When I was in a treatment facility in California, I was taking two classes on the internet while I was in treatment for 90 days.
so wait, you went to college, but you didn't finish because you got
I
into
wanted to go to NFL, yeah,
you wanted to go to the NFL.
and I had a semester left, yeah.
Yeah, you had still one semester left. So now after you leave the NFL, you go back to college. Yet you're
No, I started living life, and in 2020, I didn't go back to 2020, 4 years ago. Because I
oh,
didn't have nothing else to do. I'm like, what else? Like, I have nothing going on in my life. Like, I played in the NFL. I don't have nothing to fall. I have nothing. I don't have a resume. I don't have any degree. I just had a 5 year NFL career and nothing to like fall back on, nothing to look forward to. So I was like, I need to do something. So, and I
except
was struggling,
you were famous for dropping the
dropping
ball.
the ball. Yeah,
Like all
yeah,
those games you won, all those 5 years that you played didn't matter.
did.
I mean, I was talking to someone today about her son overdosed on heroin when he was 25 years old, and he was this brilliant kid through high school and college and everything, but the only thing he's remembered for is that he overdosed on heroin.
Hmm.
Like all that other wonderful stuff he did, and same for you. So you worked your ass off to get to the NFL. You got there, and then you do one thing, and it's like it was completely erased.
Yeah,
And by the way, all those people on the couch that couldn't get up, and some of them can't even see their feet because they're so overweight and couldn't throw a football for their life, they get to criticize you. Think about that for a second. Like, that's a lot. And so when you say what you went through, it was almost the aftermath of what you went through.
hmm.
I
The
mean, it's
thoughts and how I felt about myself.
exactly because those of us that were seen as the ones that will move the family into another area, there's so much on us. So when I crashed and burned and lost everything, I truly thought that I didn't deserve to be here. I took it harder than I ever should have. So I get it. And then you go to college, you get through COVID, you get through this downtime, this terrible depression,
Hmm.
suicidal.
No, not suicide.
Okay,
No,
I was
I didn't get
suicidal.
that far.
I had my car at Malibu Canyon, my truck, which was the last thing that I owned and lost that too, and was ready to drive it over the cliff because I thought, oh my God, I had done such, I lost everything. My daughter, she was older, so it wasn't that I couldn't take care of her. I didn't have to take care of her, but I just thought I'd ruined it. And the only reason we're talking now is because this is what I hear, and you're going to so appreciate this. This is what I heard while I'm ready to drive over the cliff. Is my dog in the back seat.
Ah,
Know how much you love your dog.
that's crazy.
That's crazy. And my old English sheepdog, which has a haircut like your dog, right?
Fluffy.
Only it's got this color hair. My dog had my color hair. Um, sitting in the back, like, hey, where are we going? What are we doing? And I go,
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah, I gotta drive my dog home. Because once I drove away from the cliff, I was like, okay, Susie, this is a little dramatic. Let's get your shit together.
Yeah.
And I'm more successful now than I was before I had my fall. I'm more successful physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, and financially than I've ever been because of that. So what did this time, this dark time, where did it come out and what happened for you? What's the post-traumatic growth of that?
I love hearing that word. I just learned that word a couple years ago. Going through all this. I remember you the first one that taught me that word. You taught me a lot of words, taught me a lot of stuff. But I just think just it's okay to make mistakes. And like you said, your brain tells you a lot of untruths or make up a lot of scenarios that aren't reality. It might feel like it is for a moment, or you might feel like the moment is the worst moment you're ever going through. Whatever you're going through, it feels like the worst at the time. But I'm just learning to have more awareness about things, about my thoughts and how I'm feeling, what I'm eating, what I'm listening to. So I think it just brought me a lot of awareness and, like you said, growth and pay attention to things that I didn't pay attention to before. And everything matters. Everything's connected.
Everything's connected. You're right. Everything, everything that we, like you said, eat and do, and believe.
Tell ourselves. Tell
Yeah.
ourselves.
Oh my God, we talk to ourselves worse than, again, any other animal. I don't know any other animal that sits and goes, I'm really a shithead. I'm really an asshole. Like we're the only ones that do that.
Like, where does that come from? Just past trauma, just past.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's historical. First of all, it's historical trauma. So I came
but it's
from
like, does it ever stop? Like, how do you obviously
I
you break
I
on it and you try to interrupt?
yeah, I think what happens is I say everything's like salsa. Every sip, mental health, everything in life is like salsa. I learned that when I moved here. And I didn't know about Mexican food until I moved here. And I realized you got to ask, is this mild, moderate, or severe? You got to
You
know,
do.
right, before you put it in your mouth. So every effective trauma is mild, moderate, and severe. And the ones that are severe are the ones that we have to get the dimmer switch. That's practice. You went to football practice, you know how to practice. So you do mental health, physical, spiritual practices, and that gives you a dimmer switch instead of an on and off. And you start to dial back the intensity of that effect. Start with breathing just so that you can lessen the amount of adrenaline going through your body because the
Yeah.
body doesn't know. It thinks you think a bad thought or you think a terrible thought or you remember a trauma. It's going to give you a shot of adrenaline, thinks it's helping you.
Hmm.
So to your question is no, they don't go away. I don't actually want my symptoms from my trauma, my effects of trauma to go away. And I'll tell you why. Because some of them are superpowers. I don't want those to go away. And some of them hurt me. And so I have to learn to dial them back. So I'll tell you a funny example.
I was
So,
gonna say, give me one.
yeah, okay. So, as a child in a chaotic family, a family where I don't know if this happened to you, maybe didn't you had two parents that are working. I had a divorced family, and my dad was so mad at my mother that he wouldn't give her really much money or any money at all. So, one night a week, we ate really well at my dad's restaurant. Can do anything I want in the restaurant. The other rest of the week, my mom had to make something that lasted 3 or 4 days.
That's how we grew up.
Yeah, and if we didn't like it, you were,
Starve.
starved, right?
Eat
All
at
right.
school.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So this idea of being chaotic, not having enough, and I can remember when I go to my dad's restaurant, I would eat like a hamster. Now, what does that mean? I don't know if you've ever had a hamster. You can put food in a hamster's mouth and you can fill up the other side all the way back. But I would hurt my
Chipmunk
stomach.
cheeks.
Yeah, cheeks. I would hurt myself so bad. Okay. Now, because it was so chaotic too, my mom drank for 5 years. She had to sell furniture to get money to buy the booze. I never saw her drink until one night I woke up to get a glass of water when I was a little kid, and she was like, "Sure, a glass of water, wherever." So I didn't really see because she drank at night when we were asleep. But she used to sell things and not tell us. So I'd come home from school one day with my lunchbox,
Oh wow.
and I went to go, oh, I opened the door and I put my lunchbox on the little table that was there by the door, and my lunchbox fell to the ground, crashed. Like, oh, the table's gone. But the real effect was OCD,
Yeah.
obsessive compulsive disorder. I had to clean, I had to organize, I had to keep things in order because my father, mother, sister, brother all struggled. So somebody had to keep things together. When it got severe to the point where I was even neglectful as a parent emotionally because I was too busy cleaning. I was too busy wanting to keep things in order. So I now have OCD still. I like to organize and clean, but now it's mild, sometimes moderate. And you know what? I get invited to everybody's party, everybody's house, because I know I'm going to stay and clean. Oh, I'm going to start picking up. I was at Jake Paul's party after his last fight at his house, and there's hundreds of people there, and they're drunk, and I'm not. And what do? I start cleaning up
Start cleaning up beer,
all the
cleaning up
bottles.
everything.
To this day, Jake was like, "Oh my God, you were so well." I came out and you had cleaned up the whole yard. It was
That's great.
so yeah. So to answer your question, you have some superpowers from this mental health crisis as well. And I think that's what we don't see, we don't find out. You really started to create the man you deserve to be. So, what were some of the practices? What were some of the things you did for you that helped you?
Um, I started focusing on my body. I felt like I was during that time it was COVID, so I was fat and out of shape. I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't want to take my shirt off. I had
Most
all these bad thoughts about myself. So first I had to like build up some strength and courage to go to the gym. So I can start feeling good about myself. And I was reading that was I guess the quickest way to change how you change your mindset, change
well,
how you
change
look and
your
change how you
chemistry.
feel.
It
Yeah.
literally changes your chemistry. You get more oxygen, which helps you think more clearly and helps you heal. It gives you oxytocin and all of that, and literally feel better mentally from working out.
Yeah.
Just
So started working on my fitness. Start getting on some healthy medicine. I had to because before I had this stigma. I don't want to take medicine. I'm from the South. We don't take medicine. You don't need those medicine. You just kind of figure it out. So I had to like get over that and kind of like figure out something else besides just raw dog and mental health. So I started working out, started getting some medicine. I started talking to a therapist. I met people like you. Started meeting people that were uplifting and positive, and wanted to see Brandon do good, and saw Brandon for more than an athlete. So I just surrounded myself with those three things. Started working out, started working on my mental, started changing the way I felt about myself, changing the way I looked at myself. Started to get some confidence, build my confidence back up, and just do all those things. So I think those three things really set me on a good path and still keeps me on a good path to this day.
you're also, there's two kinds of people in the world. Everybody wants to think it's gender, race, all of that. But actually, there's only two kinds of people in the world. People who want to know. They want to know. They want to say, wait a minute, I don't know everything, or I need to go and deserve to get some knowledge and some help and understanding and question things and find my truth and find
Hmm.
what works for me. Then there's a whole bunch of people that don't want to know. They already think they know. Don't try to tell them, especially don't try to tell them any truth. So they already think they know, and they're not going to change, and they're not going to find out anything differently. And you are a person who wants to know. You read, you
Hmm. Oh
explore.
yeah.
I don't know, everybody out there, follow Brandon Bostick on social. If you do nothing else, stop with the cat, videos, stop with all of the games, follow him and get some wisdom. You have by far some of the greatest posts. Never mind the fact your dog is adorable. You're kind of cute. Dog is really cute. And find out where he's traveling to next. So that's another thing you did. You got out of your little safety isolated
Yeah,
bubble and you started to travel.
I did. And
Yeah.
I struggle with it. Still, my depression and anxiety is with me on the plane. It's with me everywhere I go. So when I'm in these places, I still have trouble getting up. Still have trouble just enjoying it. So it hasn't gone away, like you said. I'm just learning to cope with the symptoms. And I just couldn't. I just had to live life. I just couldn't confine myself to that bubble and let this mental health diagnosis, constrict me, or like I just felt sad. Like, oh, I'm handicapped. Like I have to do this. I have this disability. I'm like, start feeling like that and go out and live life, and you just do the best you can and feel the best you can. And if you have a bad day, you just work through it. So I just had to learn how to live with it, and I am. And it's been good to just be on this path.
It's interesting. I still have some thoughts that are not helpful. Call them not helpful thoughts. I call them. So there are moments, if I say something or do a little something that I wish I'd said it better, I could obsess about that. Like I could say one sentence or do one little thing, get a little cranky and just go, oh, and then I start laughing about me. I literally got to have a sense of humor about my symptoms, about the effects of my trauma.
Mm.
That's been really helpful to have a good sense of humor about yourself. And the other thing you're doing is you have a thought and you do the action anyway. You have a thought and a feeling. I don't want to go. It's going to be tough to go. I don't feel like it. It's not going to work.
Yeah,
All that stuff.
yeah,
And then you go, okay, I'm still going.
yeah. That's
And
been great too.
it's been great. And because what happens is when you go, it's amazing because I've seen some of what's happened for you on these
Yeah.
adventures, and I call them adventures. Where was a place you went recently, far away, like Japan or somewhere? Where did you go?
I've been a lot of places. I'm trying to think. Recently, I went to Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
I was in it was far. I was in Turkey.
Turkey. That was
Yeah, I was
it.
in Turkey. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
in Turkey.
And
But
you
it's
did,
crazy. I had a crazy experience there though. That was a
well,
crazy trip. I was in an earthquake for one, and then I met this guy. I was there for NFL. Like we were over there seeing our troops, like I said, our military. So I went
yes.
on there talking about my story, telling my mental health story. And I met this guy who kind of was like Luke Wilson. He was like a Luke Wilson kind of guy. He felt bad about something he did in the military. He had a really bad experience, and he was very comforting. So our stories kind of matched together. Then I met this other guy who was an a-hole who was a Seattle fan, and he brought it up like, "Why'd you drop that ball?" Like I just had to like you said, I had to laugh about it. I had to like make a joke of it, just because I was really about to, I was triggered, so I had a
Yeah.
reaction, and my body reacted to it.
Right, right,
I went
right.
to this place that was very dark, and I just felt bad about myself. But I just kind of had to laugh it off. So that was a good experience for me to just experience those things and be able to go through it and knowing that I can work through those things. It doesn't have to ruin where I'm at.
I love when somebody who couldn't make the NFL asks you why you dropped a ball. It begs the question, asshole, why didn't you make it to the NFL? Talk about that. Like you didn't even get to the point where you could drop a ball.
That's
You're
what I wanted to say.
exactly. That's what I wanted to say. So I said it for you. So if he's listening, hopefully he is. Like he'll say, like, that judgment, that inability to understand what people do and how hard they have to work to do something And can I just thank you? I don't know if you know this, but this podcast is actually seen by a lot of veterans too. Uh,
Oh,
and so thank you for that. And that idea that we all do something that we wished we hadn't or hadn't happened, or I talk a lot to combat veterans about survivor's guilt.
mhm.
And I always ask them, were you responsible? Did you pull the trigger? Did you make them sign up? What are you responsible for? And he goes, well, nothing. We were just out on patrol and you got killed. And I said, so it seems to me that you have survivor's responsibility. You, Brandon, have athlete responsibility. You have human being responsibility. And when you tell your story, when you become the great part of vulnerability, which is to tell someone your story, that's the greatest superpower we have. You then give everybody permission to tell their story. That's what you do. And then all of a sudden we find out, oh, we can all help one another.
Yeah.
It's truly a team. What do your parents now think about what you're doing now with your life? How has your journey helped anybody else in your family?
Uh, I think it changed the whole family. Because like you said, I was built up to be this person, and I was that person. I am that person. But they saw me struggle, and they never saw me struggle, and they saw me ask for help too, though. So I think that was big for my mom to see that, because when I was going through it, I didn't tell my parents. They didn't know. I hid it. Brandon, I'm fine. I'm good, mom. Don't worry about me. I'll figure it out. So my mom didn't know I was struggling at all. I didn't even know I was struggling until I just got to a point that was unbearable. So I started being, like you said, vulnerable with my parents, communicating with my parents, tell them about what I'm going through. Mom, I'm having a bad day, or Mom, I'm going through this. Like, just started having this conversation about um, whatever I was feeling or whatever I was feeling. So it opened up some communication. It opened up just this love thing, this showing love, like showing your emotions, telling people you love them. Like we tell each other we love each other now. We started to spend more time together, so it just brought the family together in a way that it never did before. Um, so it changed so many things in so many great ways, and I'm grateful for that moment. I'm grateful for my mom and dad just being there for me and always being there for me, even when I didn't think they were there. My mom's a Christian woman, my parents, so they go to church a lot, so they're praying parents. So I just started having to get back to the things that were important to me. Started getting back to the things that got me to the NFL, and just started all over again. And started a whole new career. And I started to realize that I was more than a football player. That I was more than an athlete. I was more than just this guy that made it to the NFL. So I started to realize all the qualities that weren't athletic qualities about myself. The
So,
non-athletic qualities about myself.
right. The funny thing about being an athlete, because I've been an athlete all my life too. No one ever paid me to do it, but I did it anyway. I did it anyway. I won a bench press contest once. I beat two 24-year-olds when I was 42. That was like amazing. Okay. So, what I will say about being an athlete and taking care of yourself physically and emotionally is you're investing in yourself. And that's something I'm very grateful for. So I am more than being a therapist. I'm more than someone's mom or grandmother, although those are my two favorite things to be. And I'm also a struggling human being. I'm also, deserve help, especially as I get older and can't do everything that I used to do. I can do
Mhm.
some things now, though I couldn't do when I was younger. So there's some
Uh,
positives there too, which is an interesting insight.
I would say that's an interesting point.
Yeah, you can do some things you could never do when you're younger, which is also pretty wonderful. I also wanted to ask you about your future. So even though I'm old and love being old, um, I still have a future. I have a past, a big one, a long one. Yours is shorter. And then I have a present, and I am still looking forward to doing some things with the time I have left. And none of us know how much time we have left. I mean, obviously, it makes common sense that I have less than you, but the fact is, we just don't know. Tell
Yeah.
me, what are some of the things you still want to do in your life?
Um, I want to. raise a family. I want to raise a family, and I also want to figure out, not figure out my purpose, but figure out something I can work towards. Like I worked towards the NFL all my life, so now I'm 35. Obviously, I have 40, 50 more years. So I want to figure out what's next for me. I think that's coaching. It could be a sport or it could be in a role of teaching. I just love helping people. And I love telling my story. I love sharing my experiences and all the things that I learned. So coaching in some at some capacity could be on a team or at a school or I just want to coach and help people. So doing that and raising families next for me. So if once I get those two things, I'll be a very happy man.
Well, I'm going to keep posting your picture and video so that I can help find you a partner. And then the other thing I'm going to tell you is, so even though I'm a licensed therapist, I very rarely do therapy. In fact, I don't with any of my private clients because I can do mental health coaching. I still have all the experience from being a therapist. When I can do mental health coaching, I can do things with people that are truly healing together besides sit in an office and say, oh, I'm afraid our time is up. Here, have some Kleenex and I'll see you next week. You know, the idea that we can have a mental health evolution. Now, I call
Hmm.
it evolution, not a revolution. Most revolutions come right back to where they started. You know, years later, the revolutionaries are doing the same shit they revolted against. But
Hmm.
evolution, you're never quite the same. Like you're always changing. So for me now to be this, being part of, mental health, we started by drilling holes in people's heads to let the demons out. That's how
Hmm.
modern mental health started. Women were called hysterical because we had a uterus. So we were emotionally and mentally unstable just because we were women. If you were gay, you were in the DSM. The diagnostic manual had uh, being gay a mental illness up to 1973. That's
Oh,
51
that's crazy.
51 years ago. If you were gay, you were mentally ill by the mental health associations. So we need you now more than ever. And, having grown up in a mixed race family, which I'm so grateful for, one of the things I always say is, Black lives mental health matters. And
Hmm.
because we have been so racist for so long, even in the medical community, that people like yourself, we absolutely have to hear from you because
Hmm.
that has to change. And the reluctance to go and talk to mostly white therapists is real. It's a real fear because there's been some real horrible things happen, even the race norming in the NFL,
Yeah,
even that. So, and psychologists went along with that. And if people don't know what that is, look it up. Race
yeah,
norm. So I really appreciate what you're talking about and what you're doing in any way that I can help and support, any way that I can have you part of my mental health evolutionaries, as I call them. Let's
yeah,
do it. Let's change. I've been talking to Dan Quinn, who is now the coach of the Commanders. And we're talking about doing a 6-hour mental health training for his rookies, that
oh,
they
nice.
know now what happened to them, because childhood trauma is usually the biggest trauma we have. That's the
Yeah,
one that will bring us down
yeah,
quicker than dropping a ball. So we've got to understand that many young men and women who get to such great athletic prowess, oftentimes, once that's over, cannot recover from that. They do,
yeah.
go down. And I had the honor a couple of months ago. I went with Jake to Colorado Springs and we worked with the Olympic boxing team.
Hmm.
And we taught him breath work and meditation, and we talked about mental health in a new way for them to understand what happened to them, how it affected them, and what they get to do, and where their strengths are as well from that mental health struggle.
Hmm.
So I just wanted to share with you that you're one of my inspirations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you are. And you're gonna be here longer than I am for sure, I hope.
I'm gonna keep it going.
Picture.
I'm gonna keep the
Exactly.
evolution going.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So we've got to get, be crazy well as a movement, and doesn't have to be called that. But the point is that I just wanted to invite you to do more together and to keep telling your story and keep giving people those practices, because it's exactly what we do is more important than what we think and feel. What we think and feel, every thought you have is not true. Every feeling you have is not a fact. Your actions will determine who you become.
Mm.
So I just want to tell you how honored I am to call you well, I call you my son, but you're closer to my grandson. So
Grandma.
yeah, call me Gma. That's what
You
everybody
are Gma on my
calls
phone.
me, Gma.
You're Gma Susie.
That's right. I'm Gma Susie. So I just want to tell you I'm so, so, so grateful for you. And I've got some more ideas I want to share with you. And hey, everybody, he's looking for a wife, a partner. Assuming it's a wife.
She
It could
has
be
to be doing the work. She has to be doing the
okay.
work, though.
Yeah,
She has to
okay.
be doing the hard work on herself, mentally and physically.
Oh, Brandon, I just adore you and I'm so grateful for you. And where are you right now? Don't give me your.
I'm in Dallas. I live in Dallas now.
You live in Dallas. Well, Alden's there. Orrin O'Neill is
Yeah,
there, right? They're all there.
yeah.
Orrin's got another great story. You guys are going to do it together because he had a
We got an
horrible.
MVP chapter here. I need to reach
Yeah,
out to those
yeah.
guys.
You got to reach out and go there. And so the fight, November 15th.
You
I'll
be in Dallas?
yeah, for the Jake and Mike Tyson.
Yeah, when are you gonna be here?
I'll be there too, probably a week or two before the fight, because we're going to be
Oh,
a whole bunch
well,
of
that's soon. That's next week.
November. November. Oh, I'm
Oh, November.
at November. Yeah, they had to postpone it because of Mike's ulcer.
Oh,
And
okay.
so now
November.
the fight is in Dallas at the Cowboy
Jerry's World.
at the arena. And so I'll be there. And so I'll see you there. And
See
we
you November.
all get together. I'm going to get you all together.
Let's
And
do it.
yeah, because Jake is also part of this whole mental health evolution. He's been wonderful I've been working with him for 3 years, and and his
Oh,
team, it's been amazing. He's done some amazing work. So
I'm gonna start doing more research on him, look up his story.
yeah, there's a
I know him as a boxer. I need to know him as a person, you know.
yeah,
I know him as an entertainer,
so
but
there's a podcast with us. So he does BS with Jake Paul, and he asked me to come out, flew me out to Puerto Rico, and we told his story together.
oh, I need to look at that.
Yeah,
Oh, really? I'm gonna
yeah,
look at that tonight.
yeah. So, all right, my honey, bless you,
Thank
bless,
you, Susie. Thank
and
you,
I will
Grandma.
be in Dallas soon. So that
I'll
will
see you soon.
okay. Take care.
You have a good weekend. See you.
Bye.
Bye.